Pos 5 LC is their favorite right now, of course, on the side of Mystique. You tell me, though, John, like, is this enough for Mystique? Do you think Poke might still have this one in the bag? In fact, hold that thought, because we are going to have a very early engagement. Ray's going to cop an arrow right to the backside here from Run Fudel, and it seems like Ray, he's going to get completely blocked off. Poke, they will secure first blood here for them. Ember, V will take it. You were saying, Jonathan, do you like Mystique?
I still do, despite bleeding out first blood like that. It's kind of sad to see Ray not be able to use his overwhelming odds. Battery Assault is a very fun spell for you if you have a cast point. But the one thing with Poke's draft that I'm not behind fully is, ooh, nice little deny from Ranfudao, is the Faces Void for Lanfur, right? Like, you look at the FV in this game, it doesn't really have any play in. Like, you have a Broodmother, you have an Ember Spirit, both melee heroes. Ember can contribute a little bit with Sleight of Fist into Chrono. Beyond that, you don't really have damage going in there. And you do have some counterplay from Slark. Like, he can be fast enough to Shadow Dance, mid cast animation of Chrono, suddenly your core-to-core matchup feels really, really bad. You have some weird plays with Depth Shroud, where if you're at the edge and your allies at the edge, you can save them as well. So I'm not sure how much value Lanfur can really get out here, and if his hero can really kind of seal the deal for them in this game.
Right. That bot lane, like, they talked about the Pos 5 LC being a nice counter to the Brood, and I do agree, but early on, it doesn't feel like it's going to do that much. Mind you, you are still against two melee heroes here down at the bot lane, so I suppose press the overwhelming odds, rather, is still going to do a hell of a lot of damage, but we'll have to wait and see the impact of Ray. Of course, he does at least find himself a nice courier there from Eren. Maybe the Clockwork Courier going down with a Sentry Ward and a Mango. Going the other way as well, John, you look at or MMM on the Slark, he's going to have a fantastic time, right? Like, you've got two melee heroes against the Slark. There's not really anything you can do.
Yeah, and even if you can start to threaten down the line with the Silicon Bola, Slark does have the Dark Pact to purge it off, so you're not going to be missing your hits too often. And you can trade pretty alright with Essence Shift, even when the Insatiable Hungers pop up. Like, by then, you'd want to press the attack on Ray, so you're going to have a little bit of healing and trades as well, and that lane just looks good. Mid lane as well, it's been a little bit rough.
Yeah, Fairy Fire was eaten up there by V just to make sure he survives the damage onslaught that was incoming from Zone. But that mid lane, you're just about to talk about it, it's a very even affair so far between these two heroes. Do you give the advantage over to one or the other here, John?
It's a lot easier for Leshrac to play. Not that it's immediately favored, but when it comes to just executing, a lot easier for Zone. And for V, he's going to have to watch his Flame Guard usage. He's going to have to try to dodge out with the Sleight of Fist. Zone has range advantage. He has all the spells to spam. You will need some pressure to be relieved with a rotation from Ranfu down the line. But until you have the Searing Chains up, which it doesn't look like V's even opting for early on, not going for that Sleight of Fist chains to be more aggressive in lane.
Bottom lane, Eren was getting chased down on the clock. Looks like he's going to be able to survive through it, but it's just so hard when you get pounced by the Slark. Like, there's just, again, nothing you can do apart from a Cog's pushback, but even then, Eren's still level 1, trying to soak that level 2 XP, but having difficulty doing so. And even Killer already rotating to the small camp of that Radiant side, trying to contest the small camp pool. Again, everything's proving to be rather annoying down to this bot lane, because again, you just are against a Slark LC. It's not very fun, and here we go again. Another pounce out for this Broodmother. Killer, he's going to be able to walk away from this. But it just feels like with all these Essence Shift stacks, it's so annoying to keep the lane going. Mind you, Ray has been caught out by the cogs of Eren, and may just drop and dust. That feels like a pretty decent error here from our LC, John. Considering how dominant the lane was for the Radiant side, you can't really afford to give these kills away for free.
At the same time, it's a little bit of a reset for the LT, right? You come back in, full mana, you can keep spamming out the overwhelming odds, press the attack, you've already had your impact in lane, and you can just keep giving the Slark farm. Like, even if you feed a couple of kills to the Brood and to the Clock, it still feels like you have the answers lined up for you here. Although it is a strong start for Poke, not putting that down in any way. 2-0 for them so far, less than 1k their way. The last lane we haven't really looked at is that top, as there's been a little bit too much action across the map. But this is the most passive lane coming out from this game. I mean, you've got Ranfu and Lanfur on a Faces Void and Mirana. It's not the most aggressive. You're not going to be looking to bash and hope for the best. And NJ has himself a pretty damn good lane here. Every time he sees Time Walk, he can commit pretty hard.
And there you go. He's chasing right now. Lunfer gonna get lifted up and sent right back the other way. They may not have enough damage though, but they do have mangoes on NJ. They just needed the cooldowns to wear off. Lunfer still trying to run, but a very nice scatter blast in from NJ, gonna ensure they secure the kill. And Lunfer, he's not gonna be happy about that.
No, and this is not what you want to see for your Void. Again, the lane matchup isn't the best for the Faceless Void here. A lot more aggression coming out from Mystique. And you're going to be trying to farm up in this game. You're kind of trying to be this win condition, right? So we're seeing Lunfer queue up the Mask of Madness, maybe go for the Maelstrom down the line, and it's just a lot slower in comparison to what a Slark can do with, say, just Echo Saber when it's up and running.
Yeah. That will be. Run through down now. Chased out by DQQ. Be wary of that damage coming in from the Rubik. It's not that easy to lane against this hero right now. Ranfu down, trying his best to trade as best as humanly possible, but again, it's a very scary top lane for the side of Poke. We'll have to just try and slow this lane down just a little bit. And of course, you made the comparison here to the Slark, of course, down at bot lane, and well, he's having a very good time. 31 and 8 in terms of CS. Another pounce out onto the Broodmother. Killer, I mean, he's staying alive with the insatiable hunger, but there is a struggle in terms of farm. Mind you, he is still finding a little bit, but it's just not a very easy lane as now Aaron moves in, but another chase is on now. No pounce off cooldown, so MMM, he couldn't go for it. He is going for the max essence shifts kind of build here on the Slark, and well, it makes enough sense. You want that longer duration because you're getting so many stacks.
Yeah, there's something really threatening you here as a Slark. You don't have the hardest lockdown from the side of Poke. They tried to get a little bit of movement down mid. That does give V the Arcane Rune here as well, but that means with Mirana kind of found out here by DQQ, you aren't going to be able to get that kill opportunity. And again, you've had a slow start in V. He's kind of set to be your momentum carrier here, but with this kind of slower start, with the delay in the phase boots and the Orb Corrosion, with all the farm zones getting, your tier 1's going to be under threat sooner rather than later, and just having DQQ here to pressure means V's not comfy at all. There's some interesting flanking movement here from Poke.
Yeah, Zone's going to try and move in. DQQ right around the corner. Aaron is just getting annihilated here by the damage of Zone, and V, he can't really do much about it. In fact, he's going to have to go for a run, because he is only level 5 at the moment, so he won't have the remnants up and available. Trying to secure as many creeps as possible to get that level 6 up. Zone will just move in once again, but won't land a stun here onto the Ember. So V's going to be okay to survive through it. Mystique really just kind of pushing the limits of their heroes here in the mid lane, just ensuring that Poke find absolutely nothing for their trouble, as even DQQ again chasing down this Mirana. Runfu Dao going to be okay. But it does seem like every kind of lane's gone the way of the Radiant so far.
And despite finding those earlier kills for Poke, you just have a lot of good answers from the side of Mystique. Again, there's always still this question mark on Lanfa and how much he can do on that Faceless Void. You've got the kisses ready here on NG as well. So one opportunity to just lock one hero down from decent range. You've got the damage to kill. Aaron's trying to find something there.
They are. DQQ still okay. In fact, they'll just turn right back onto Ranfu Dao, and now Aaron's in trouble. Kisses will fly in. They will not land. It will be cancelled off, but you've got another Scatter Blast in 5, and you don't even need it. NJ's just got the right-click damage. That's a double kill for the offlane Snapfire. Lunfer!
Oh,
I
no.
mean, look, I know you had Time Walk Lunfer, but there's so much burst damage with these two. You can't run up like that.
No, and even mid, Zone's just looking for these solo opportunities.
I mean,
the mobility's
he's
there.
going to try and move in with the chains out, but Zone, he's just going to avoid the arrow. Ranfu Dao could not throw it out earlier. There was a creep wave blocking the arrow angle. Oh, and it's a complete disaster of an early game here so far for Poke.
Yeah, it just goes back to this flex with the LC. I mean, look at Ray now. It's like what you said, you know? The LC just camps the Brood lane, slows down to push. You have level 3 overwhelming odds, level 2 press the attack. You are perfectly safe here, no solo kill opportunity. They drag in multiple heroes to try to look for rotation, but it's just an LC, and Ray's just playing safe. He's just camping that tier 1. He has a good ward, watching this movement coming out from the side of Poke. And if they don't find this tier 1 bot, you're going to have a hard time buying space for Lanfer, who, again, isn't having the best of times in this game, and will need a lot of space to grow.
I appreciate what Killer's doing here, John, just leaving the Spiderlings behind so Ray can't get the full value. They'll come in from the side, but they have used the overwhelming odds now. And with that, he should just be dead, though. Ray still going for a run, trying to tank through it, trying to juke them out. There's Ranfu down, leaping right in. They'll even bring a fourth hero in just to ensure Ray does go. And with that, that's going to open up that bottom tier 1 tower. But in the meantime, Mystique doing the right thing, just pushing in the mid tier 1, forcing rotations back in from V on the Ember. Meanwhile, Aaron getting chased down here by MMM. The Slark is going to be okay to back his way out. It's complete chaos across the map, but more importantly, John, Killer is still finding the bottom tier 1, and that's what you kind of were worried about with that POS 5 LC. It's not gone yet, but it's almost there. Though as I say that, Ray is back and, well, here we go. The chase is on. Jewel is out. They've locked him down, and that should be Killer just dead, though he is tanking through it. The Jewel will not be a win, and he is actually running. He is actually running away. Oh, but they have enough. Just barely. Overwhelming odds will prove to be enough damage. In comes V to try and help out on the Ember. Not much he can do in terms of trading, though. Not quite yet.
And that was on the edge. Ray got level 6 off those Spiderlings that died while he was just kind of chasing around. And managed to get the kill off the back of it. Like, we're seeing V trying to make space across the map, but it doesn't feel worthwhile when you're rotating on a support. You know, this is a support LC you're trying to gank up. And yeah, your objective is that tower, but every time you show up on the Ember, you just have a threat on mid. They do at least find Rubik up top here.
They're trying for more. They'd love the Snapfire. It's a much bigger kill here onto NJ, but the problem is he can always just cookie out of there, and well, that's exactly what he does. In fact, now the kiss is the turnaround onto Aaron. It's not enough damage yet. He's trying for the Scatter Blast. Eventually, he will just find the kill. And that's a mega kill streak now to the way of NJ. So sure, he does need to commit these kisses to find these kills, but at the end of the day, this Snapfire is out of control.
5-0 already for NJ, getting all the space he can at top. They're going on Ray again.
But they are. Ray, he's going to try and juke out once again. Hill's coming in, but V's on the chase. Nice juke so far from Ray towards the left side of the tree line. Killer is around the corner, but no, the patience. Ray just waits. And his patience will pay off as he just runs out of there.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his job right. He's dragging this attention from the Ember away from his more higher priority cores. He's giving space out for Zone to just push and control mid as much as he wants. Max out Edict. Mid tier 1's not going to stand for too long, even with Ranfu out trying to hold back the wave. And that's a much bigger objective for Mystique to find here.
That it certainly is. Gonna open up the map here on the end of things. Both need to pay. Oh, hold on a minute. NJ top lane. That's a big kill if they can find it. NJ gonna try and go for a run. Is still very tanky on that Snapfire. Doesn't have Cookie to throw out though, so he's in a lot of danger here as he's gonna try for a TP. Wishful thinking though. He will just drop. Not much he could have done about it. And hell, even mid lane they found Zone while that was happening. So 2 huge kills going to the way of Poke, and well, that's a lot to give back the way of the dive.
It certainly is. These are some very important kills to V. Just feeling a lot better on the Ember now. Finding that build-up lead. Still bottom network core, but not too far behind in comparison to Zone at least. And you're getting some space out for Lanfer. He's at the point where he can't just solo control the Void anymore. He does have level 3 Time Walk and the Mom, so he's got some damage output as well. So it's going to be a little bit harder to hold down that Face's Void. He's got some room up top to keep farming.
Shot out, top lane. They've got Zone again. Another pretty big pick off if they can kill him, though Zone actually gets the clockwork first and they don't have the damage. They'll have to leave Zone B. Just too close by the tier 1 tower, though I say that, B's going to move in, but chains will not land. Oh, he goes onto the creeps instead. That is just so unfortunate.
Yeah, that window to get the chains out with Sleight of Fist is pretty tight. The animation of Sleight is super quick. So sometimes you just get a little bit unlucky when you pre-cast there and just kind of miss out. They've still got to back out on Zone, but they're going into that point where the full Bloodstone's going to be up and running. And that's the danger zone. You're not going to have early BKBs. You might find DQQ here for your trouble, though.
They may. DQQ. They pop an arrow there. Then again, press the attack going to help DQQ out so he can survive just a little bit longer as V now forced to back off. In fact, lift up on Ranfu Dao, but he will be able to back off himself. Kind of concerning though, just with the press the attack.
Oh,
They're allowed to keep DQQ alive as across the map. Aaron, hook shot, Cogs pushback is there onto NJ, but looks like again he's going to prove to be just a little bit too tanky, but they'll keep going. Lunfer trying his best, Chrono committed, but can you get the damage out in time? They'll get the battery assault there just as well. NJ trapped up is going to drop. Ray trying to help but got caught in the Chrono himself, so couldn't do anything. Chase down another. The LC will purge off the chains himself. But it seems like
Radiant's
Poke,
top tower is under
even at
attack.
these earlier stages, without damage output, they are still trying to get aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's working out. It just needs a lot of heroes to work. Like, you're dragging 4, you're dragging 5 heroes for these kills on the offlane, for these kills in the supports. You're allowing to just free farm on the Slark. He went for the Midas unpunished. He's going to have his Echo Saber up and running as well. And as we mentioned, that full Bloodstone being up for zone puts a massive dent in the issues here for the side of Poke as well. Mind you, that kill on NJ took a lot longer because of the Guardian Greaves. Like, the fact that this item is so cheap right now, and everyone picks it up, just the moment you hit that threshold for the bonus to kick in, it's actually really hard for something like the Void to just handle by himself at the moment. So it gets a lot trickier for you to get offensive without Chrono. It does force you to drag so many heroes in. And it's just space that Mystique is using a lot better. Like, this Slark is still going to be an issue. With a Echo Saber and Hand of Midas up, you can just run down heroes, get a lot of stacks up and running, and just find some nice, easy kills.
Off lane, NJ again being caught out on the Snapfire is just going to melt. Be able to pick up his 4th kill of the game on the Ember. I do agree with your point, because the fights are generally pretty drawn out as well, so the Slark is going to have a fantastic time getting all these Essence Shift stacks going his way throughout these fights. I just wonder at what point he starts joining the team, because he's got the Echo up. You think this is around the time they might group up and try to fight, as well, top lane they'll lose Ray as well. These kind of situations just feel like they could be turned quite easily by the side of Mystique, but they just aren't grouping up yet.
No,
Radiant's
they're
top
just
tower is
much
under
more
attack.
trying to work the map, and I think it's all right to wait for these major item spikes. Like, the blink on Ray is going to be big. The Bloodstone being up on zone, he's out of mana for this kind of play though.
They're going to find the Rubik. DQQ now to drop. Rotations incoming. Looks like Zone wants to keep the fight going on the left track, but he's completely surrounded now. Even more TPs incoming. Zone's still a very tanky target. Will be able to run his way out for now. Meanwhile, a duel has been committed onto the clockwork, and they will find that one. Aaron, he is going to drop. Here comes Lunfer, however. He does have Chrono in a few seconds. He just needs the time. Back Zone. Zone is just going to melt without it. They don't even need it. It's NJ. NJ will run his way out for now, but V is on the chase with a great chains. Landing on 2, but there'll be no follow-up to it. Lunfer, he'll hold on to the Chrono, wait for another day.
Yeah, they find the big kills, and they're starting to really work this aggression well on Poke. They're just more than willing to come in while these defensive items aren't up, while their Slark isn't willing to come in. He's pretty much ready to go. He is working towards the Ags, it looks like. So maybe just waiting for that to be finished up. Having the double long-range pounce is going to be big. You do have this blink already up and running on Ray, so you should be able to start off with these big duels. Maybe just pin down the Ember, probably your highest priority target, most mobile here that you don't really have the best lockdown for, immediate lockdown outside of duel. So that's where I want to see Ray kind of play with his blink, hunt the Ember down with his Leshrac round. They're going for that Poke on top. They will find it. It's very low HP. But you're still in a pretty good position here for Poke. I mean, Mystique, they do have the objective advantage, but until we see the Slark join in, it's a difficult 4v5 at times to take.
Ranfu gonna get caught here by the Jewel. Will go down eventually, and that will be another win the way of Ray as they find even more now. They found V. The Ember, a much bigger target, but he'll get the Remnant away. Oh, just barely. Able to survive on through it. But Mystique still proving how strong of a team they are in this game 1. Again, this is all without joining in here on the Slark yet. We'll have that Ags up very, very soon, so we should see him very, very soon. But well, 10 to 11 now. 1k advantage the way of the Radiant. Can't really figure either. Lunfer, he is farming very effectively. Only 2nd in net worth at the moment. He had a much tougher time early game, but the Void is slowly but surely catching up. There's no real way out of that chrono this game, so you do have to be wary of that.
Yeah. I'm gonna smoke up here on the side of Mystique, though. I think the one counter you have for the chrono is something like Slark Shard. That could be a funny way if you manage to cast it in the chrono to save your teammates. Well, pretty difficult though, and M just shows off that Ags, misses the pounces though.
And he does. In an unfortunate way is bottom lane. B gets caught out, and with the duel into the kisses, they've got so much damage for this. Ray now actually has 38 bonus duel damage, so he'll be sitting there quite happy as a pos 5. Meanwhile, mid lane, Killer gonna try and move it on to DQQ. He will remnant away. Overwhelming odds will get rid of the Spiderlings, and now a very nice cookie up from NJ. Problem is he cops an arrow on the insatiable hunger. Killer's gonna try and turn this one around, but can't do it on his own. He needs to get the hell out of there. And he will. In the meantime, Aaron, he's going to find DQQ on that Rubik, but another remnant away, and now the Chrono. Lunfur's there. He has found 3 targets, but they want the Leshrac. So he is still alive. The press the attack will save the day as they go for more. Lunfur's been caught. I take what I said back, John. This LC is doing a lot of work.
Yeah, it's just genius coming out from Mystique. Ray's done his job from the laning phase. He's playing his job well. They got all the saves they need to just rip zone out in the nick of time. And it just goes back to that damage issue that you have here on Poke. Like, chrono combinations just aren't there. We saw a chrono arrow. That's nice. It's not nearly enough to get that first damage online. And Mystique, they've just got a lot of solutions. And we're not even seeing them try to deal with right now. Like, our Slark is still not joining in. After he showed off that Axe, he just bailed out, went back top, went farming, shoving in the wave, and it's still a 4v5, but you are starting to get a lot more durable on the side of Mystique. Your angles have to be perfect here from Lanfur. You need to be able to get these chronos and get your teammates in a position where they can contribute a decent chunk of damage. You have to work with V very closely with a sleight of fist here.
That you do. We're gonna look at NJ mid lane. NJ just proving to be not afraid of anything right now in this Snap 5, feeling so tanky. So with the Greaves up, he can just purge off practically anything. Nice hook shot is there from Aaron, but he can just cookie out. He's fine. An in-come zone to try and trade now. Oh, a stolen hook shot out from DQQ, landing right back the way of Aaron. That'll be your clockwork on. They won't be so lucky with the Ember, but what does it matter? Mystique, they are just playing way better in this game 1. And now a 5k net worth advantage. That is getting concerning.
No, it really is. And DQQ is just playing out of his mind. We saw that stolen hook shot earlier as well, breaking up that chrono. I didn't realize he'd still have it. He hasn't died. It's a pretty long duration on the stolen spell, of course, and DQQ just showing us how effective a Rubik can be as clockwork. The side of Pope, there's still potential for the lineup to grow. My main issue now is this impact coming out from Killa. It feels like it's really receded. Right? Like he took the bot tier 1, he's been active, but he hasn't really shut down the map in the way you'd expect a Broodmother to do. He's been forced to play a much more active role, play with these auras, try to leverage that durability on his team, but it's not cutting off the farm angles for anyone here. And it's probably just down to, again, Ray on the LC just being a solution. You can't just camp a lane because an LC will just stalk you, so you might as well just look for these kills while you can.
Oh, there goes Ranfu Dao. Just can't survive the burst damage you've got on Mystique at the moment. They are still trying to pressure this mid-tier 1 tower. You do have the pipe fully up here by Killer now, so he can protect from the initial overwhelming odds that gets thrown out by Ray. It's just still proving to be way too much. Like, overwhelming odds, Fade Bolt, and of course you're still against the Snapfire and the Leshrac, who both clear out those Spiderlings very, very quickly. It's very, very rough affair for Killer. Keep in mind, he still has to, offer space to his Void as well. And speaking of the Void, Lunfur gonna barely avoid that split earth. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Aaron trying to make his own run away, but NJ, oh, nice hook shot from Aaron. Gonna juke up for now. Kisses, oh, it's gonna give the vision. They are gonna get the vision in the tree line. No TP away. Hookshot is stolen once again. Meanwhile, mid lane, they're gonna try onto zone. They'll commit a chrono for this, and it seems like it should be enough. And it will be. But you have to commit so much for that.
It's worthwhile. You find a pretty big here in that Leshrac #2 net worth. You don't have to pop your BKB here in Lanfur. So you're pretty happy with that. The issue is, with Chrono down, Lanfer is going to be a sitting target if Mystique decides to play aggressive, which on the respawn of Lesh, they should look to do. It doesn't take too long for them to be on top of these heroes. We still haven't seen... Like, is just playing this ridiculous farming game. I mean, to be a Slark in this game with 16 kills on your team and you're only in 3 of those, it's impressive. I don't know if that's impressive in the right way, but it is impressive, Mike.
It certainly is. It certainly is impressive. Poke. 5k behind now. Bottom lane. They're going to find Aaron, or rather MJ is going to be found out. Ray is there to help. And now the hook shot. Back the way of run through down, but have they gone too far? Counter hook shot from Aaron. Going to catch the Rubik. A cookie away. It is not going to be enough. Poke. They should be able to punish quite nicely here as they do taste down MJ. Another press the attack though. Going to make sure he does remain alive for now. In comes Lanfer. The whole cavalry is here. Just chasing one Snapfire. He's going to try for the TP away, but it's not going to be enough. Whew. That was way too close for comfort. Had that TP gone through, that would have been the most demoralizing thing for the side of Poke.
Yeah, it works out in the end. They find some 2 important kills. The snap not as big as the Lush a while ago, but you're finding some work done. You're getting some action out without having to, again, have Chrono up, have to pop your BKB. So it does work out quite nicely. One thing with Mystique still here, right? Like, when you see this kind of commitment come out from Poke, we're still not seeing a response out from Own. I mean, he's still farming well, but at some point you've got to use this Slark while he's strong. Like, you know Chrono's down, you have nothing to be worried about. It looked like a decent opportunity to counterfight, but doesn't really opt for it. Now you have to deal with the Ags up on Aaron, so he's going to have the Rocket Flares coming out. It's going to be a lot easier for Poke to leverage this vision advantage that in theory they should have with the Spiderlings going around and with the Clockwork. And that can give them angles to find these pickoffs over and over and over again if Mystique's not careful.
Poke, at the very least, proving they're not out of this game yet. And I do kind of agree with you. Like, it's just funny how the Slark literally hasn't done anything for the last 26 and a half minutes. But the thing is, Mystique is still winning. That's the worst part, right? So it's like, what happens when we bring out this secret weapon of our Slark and he's just 6-slogging, right? Like, he's going for a Bloodthorn now, this Slark. And once you've got that up, sure, you've got a BKB available on Lanfer and on V, but if he sees those have worn off, you're in trouble. And Ranfu down, there's a Jewel out, that's him gone. The heals will do nothing. Meanwhile, they even found Killer. Killer was trying to stick around to help out the best he possibly could, but there's your pounce out from holding down the Broodmother. Not long enough though. Killer, he's going to get onto the high ground. Split Earth is not going to land, so the Brood is going to be just fine. But regardless, once the Slark gets involved, Poke know they just can't get anywhere near him.
No, he's just way too big. And I think the one thing is, like, yes, Mystique is winning with her Slark not doing as much. And we do see his impact when he does manage to latch onto a hero now. I just feel like they could be winning more. You know, it's all about winning more in Dota 2. Yeah, you're in a winning position. How do you win even more, right?
Right.
And well, it's at this point where surely once you have the blood torn up, joins in, right? That's the moment our Slark surely takes more activity here and wins even more.
There's a bit of activity. He's just going after some Spiderlings. Killer will give a couple away. Hookshot is there onto the Slark, but again, press the attack, and now the Jewel out. The hold down Killer. They might... No, in fact, it was the Clockwork. The Clockwork was the one being jeweled, and now can just get straight to work, but he does back off for now as Lanfer does have Chrono up. Zone, though, he's going to move in, trying to bait out that Chrono. Lanfer, he'll pop his BKB, still going after Zone. There's your Chrono now committed. Does the Slark want to move back in? It does seem like he does. They don't have the damage. Zone is perfectly fine. V going to move out. A nice arrow, though, going to clip onto the Slark, meaning he can't keep fighting. Had that arrow not landed, that could have been a complete wipe on the side of Poke. But luckily, Ranfu Dao able to save the day.
Yeah, he stalls out that fight quite nicely, and you can see the damage issues coming out here for Lanfer. Like, Zone with just the plate mail and all the added HP from Bloodstone, it's more than enough for him to survive. That's a Faceless Void with a Mask of Madness and Mjolnir. It's just not enough coming out from Lanfer, and there's nothing anyone else can really do besides throw a couple of spells in, but they're not nukey enough. So, yeah, it's so difficult to get max value from the Chrono as the game goes on with the HP building up. And again, you're still not even seeing the counterplay coming out from.
Man, NJ is so cocky here in this bot lane. Like, he's just jumping right in the middle of these fighters.
my
Look at
God.
this. And he's got them all. He got every single one. He doesn't have Greaves up right now, but the Force Staff's going to buy a bit of space. He'll try for a TP. There's no way he does make it out, and he doesn't. He will drop. Very, very close for NJ, but no cigar. They want more now. DQQ, gonna cop the arrow, gonna cop the chains. Press the attack will help. In fact, Zone's gonna move in and zone them out quite literally. Ramfu down, forced to back out. Zone clears out the Spirelings and the creep wave. Mystique, you've got to be cautious. You don't want to throw lives away like that for no reason.
Play it safe on both sides. Not gonna fully commit to just taste down Rubik. And again, they're finding some nice kills here from the side of Poke, but it's whenever Mystique is just maybe a little bit too cocky. Now you're tanky on that snap, but you're not that tanky. You're no Slark, and you do draw attention away from your Slark. Is pretty much fully geared up. He's carrying the gem. He's got the blood torn up. Doesn't really have too much room for anything else. Maybe his shard comes through next, which will again cause issues in these team fights, and he does get the shard. So you have Depth Shroud, and look at that cast range for Depth Shroud, by the way. You can easily cast that into Chrono. So not the easiest here.
He's caught out. Ray wanted the dual damage, but won't be able to get it. He's already got 122. Like, on a Pos 5 LC, while he doesn't have the items for it, he is slowly transitioning to someone who can do a lot of damage.
Oh, he is. I mean, he already does quite a fair bit of damage, just as is right now. Inside of Poke, their answers are growing smaller and smaller. Like, we have to see Lanfer play well. We have to see V line up these shots for his team. It's just hunting, but doesn't really find anything. So at the least here, Aaron does manage to bail out with a shot. But again, it's you think about this Void. If you don't catch the Slark and Chrono, you have to deal with Depth Shroud. That's 3 seconds of your Chrono gone that you can't do anything about. That leaves you with 2 seconds to do your damage, and if you can't kill any of these within that full 5 seconds, then you're really not going to kill them in 2 seconds here for Lanfer. So this game just feels like it gets harder and harder for Poke. I just feel like Mystique, when you look at this draft, when you look at what they did with that LC and then going in for the Slark last pick into that Void, it's just beautiful. You know, they've got a lot of answers for everything.
I mean, Mystique, still 6k ahead, everything working well. I hate to keep saying it, but this Slark, he's still just freely farming. Bloodthorn up completely. Bottom lane, they're looking at V now on the Ember, but V gonna try and juke out on the tree line. Will be just fine. Or will he? Depends on whether he wants to show on the creep wave. V's getting greedy. That's a greedy position for the Ember. He might feel safe, Ray. Oh, the sleight of fist timing. That is perfect timing. I would not say that was a reaction. That was definitely luck. But it was perfect. In fact, NJ gonna get caught. Guiding Greaves off the chains. Does get rid of all the Spiderlings. We'll be fine for now. In fact, there goes MMM. Moving right in. They've got a duel out as well. Chrono's been committed though. They've got Ray down. The Broodmother will drop with him. Can they get the Slark? MMM, he's just so massive.
Oh my god.
He's not dying. And in the meantime, Zone and MJ were just annihilating everyone else. They did no damage.
No. It's just not enough. Like, you just don't have the output. You don't have anything to contribute from the rest of your teammates. And this has just been the issue for Poke from the early rotations. Like, we'd see them come in. It would be down to Lanfer to try to just go for these softer targets already in the Chrono and try to follow through with some spell damage. But whenever they're full HP and he jumps in, it's just not enough. And yes, they find a punishment on the LC. It's something. It's just not. It's not what you're looking for. You want to kill. You want to kill Zone. And that's becoming a tougher and tougher prospect here.
It seemed like they wanted to try and really make sure that Jewel was won by their Broodmother, but it's kind of that thing, like it doesn't do anything. Like Killer gets an extra 28 damage, happy days for the Brood, but then you left the Slark alone, you threw everything you had at the Pos 5 LC. And then afterwards, you've still got this Leshrac Snapfire to worry about, and of course the Rubik as well right behind him. But there's just so much magic damage coming in afterwards. It's too problematic if you don't get a better Chrono than that.
No, it really is. They need to find a way to just catch out and is just
Look at
going
this.
for this fight with Killer.
Yeah, he just man fights. He doesn't care. No problem. You can't even attempt those kind of maneuvers without, maybe +2.
Never refuse
Yeah,
gold.
it's impossible. It just with how much has been able to get from his farm of 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It's a lot to go through. He's more than ready to fight back. He's got protection with his own BKB. This Scotty from Lawnfur could help the cause. He's in a bit of a dicey position here, though. He's under vision.
He was under vision. They know his invis there somewhere, and there's the split earth to come out. BKB forced. Lunfer has Chrono in 10. He's going to try and just man fight through this, but the BKB's about to wear off. He'll go towards the south of the Time Walk. Does have TP available, and they may have just assumed he used it. Instead, towards the left side, Run Fu Dao in massive trouble. Is going to drop on the Mirana. Here comes Lunfer again. Looks like V will find DQQ on the Rubik. It's not that bad of a team fight so far, but they've lost all their BKBs. In goes the Chrono. Not quite Lunfer. He's going to hold out for now. Zone will just move in again. Onto V, finding the Ember. We'll cancel the TP. Now M's going to move in. Onto that Void. He just melts. Lunfer cannot survive through it. Killer's going to try to run out of here. But he is not looking like a killer himself here, John. This Broodmother looking very, very weak. See, we'll juke out of the tree line, but at what cost? Like, how much are you losing? He's under vision again. That Observer Ward just making it so hard. It's Killer onto the high ground. Pounce is there. It will not land, but the Brood is still running. There's your Blood Ride out, or rather Bloodthorn, and that'll be about it. NJ, he'll pick up another on the snap.
Yeah, it's rough, right? You're forced to BKB early on Lawnfur, so when the Slark does show up with a Bloodthorn, you don't have an answer. You only have that one save with a BKB. You don't have anything like Lotuses online. No way of just enabling your Void to do what he needs to do. And the side of Mystique, again, they're just in control of this game. They go in very staggered. They're finding these pick-off opportunities coming out from Poke. And they're just massive on the Slark. Immediate just buyout on the Scotty for wondering what he throws away here. Maybe just give the gem away to someone and hand it over to NG or something. Maybe Ray, actually. Wouldn't be too bad. And just kind of run around. Lots of stats, lots of EHP on the Slark. He's got his level 25 with the Essence Shift duration, so he's going to have a lot of extra agi for a long time in these prolonged fights and in the reset fights as well. And for the side of Poke, it still just goes back to trying to dance around with V and trying to work this angle out with Lawnfur. They need to play with that. It's easier said than done. And again, it just gets so much harder as this game goes on because the line of Mystique, it's just a beautiful draft and beautiful execution here.
Here we go. There is a smoke out. Poke, they're going to try and poke their way into the Roshan pit. Make sure that cannot happen. Problem is, though, you are going to lose your main source of vision, which is the Clockwork, being pounced up a second time. Chrono's out. They've got the Slark. Press the attack, though. Going to heal him up just a little bit. Is it going to be enough? It doesn't seem like it. They've got the Slark down. Lawnfur finding exactly what they needed. We'll move on to NJ. Really wanting that Snapfire. Though NJ, he's quite tanky. He'll just move around with the cookie. He's going to be okay. Even the root out from the Rod of Atos, but still the chase is ongoing. NJ still tanking through it, so Zone can move in on that Leshrac. Still somehow alive. Finally does end up dropping on the snap, but Zone, he'll just keep going. Lunfer playing around with the Time Walk and the reverse Time Walk will keep chasing them down. Who are they aiming? It looks like they really want DQQ on the Rubik, but he's got Time Walk himself. He'll just get his way out of there. Lunfer is trying to chase, but Rubik is just so effective. It won't matter though. Lunfer eventually able to find him with the time dilation. Will make sure he cannot Time Walk away. And Poke, they put an end to the Roshan.
Yeah, they put an end to the Roche to find that one big kill they needed on the Slark. And that's how you do it. They managed to Moonlight and get a Chrono off. You're not ready for that on the Slark. You can't just pop the Shadow Dance that comes in. They're going for more though.
They are. They'll find the clock. That'll be another duel win here to Ray. Lunfer's going to try and punish Ray for this. 4 staffs away, however, going to be more than enough for Ray to get out. And so Roshan's still up. It's still going to be relatively healthy. If you're Poke, you probably can't force the Roshan yourself, but you can at least ensure you buy yourself time to have access to that Roshan later.
Yeah, they're stalling for time. It's not too long till the respawn is back up on Mystique, though. They're going to have their Slark back in. They're going to have their Snapfire back in. They're going to be ready to try to force that once more on Mystique's end. But for Poke, they just need to do what they can with the space. They've got the full Ags on V. So with how slippery these heroes are starting to get on Poke, it is becoming tougher for Mystique to kind of hold them down. They need to get this big dual win with Ray and just kind of go from there, because we're seeing them all just weave in and out. The Remnant spam coming out from V, the webs giving this free pattern for Killa, making it hard to just lock him in early on these fights as well, dragging it out a lot longer than you might like without your Slark around. They are in position to make something happen here, though.
Mystique might shadow out. Poke could try and move their way in, but it seems like it has been spotted here by Mystique. So NJ, he's still a pretty big target if they can start with him. Chrono's out. They caught zone. They've got the Leshrac. Cookie is not going to help him out, so the damage output, it will go right through zone. That's a fantastic start here for Poke. They'll go on to NJ as well. Here comes MMM to try and help out on the Slark, but they're just completely ignoring him. Still going after NJ, but the Ashen Stiff, it's going to start stacking up as they do move in once again. Complete chaos here in the mid lane, as somehow NJ is still alive. In goes the Slark once again. Aaron is going to melt to the damage output, but Lunfer is going to try and take this Slark down, and they've got him. They eventually get it done. Is NJ still trying to fight? Arrow is not going to land. He will run, but the rest of his team just completely melts in front of his eyes. And I'll tell you, it's starting to feel like MMM, he may have waited too long this game, because he's not getting enough time to stack up those essence shifts.
I feel like that the big issue in there was that you're seeing Poke clump up much more often than Mystique is. Like they're grouping up, but you didn't have your Slark around there. You didn't have this counterplay with Depth Shroud for the Chrono save. Now you have to deal with a secondary life up on Lanfa. He's got the refresh as well. Double Chrono is going to be a massive issue if you're not ready. We need to see Mystique play as a team. They can't afford to just stream in as separate groups anymore and have the Slark come in to clean up. They need to play with that Slark up front, or at least in the back pocket, and see when the Chrono's committed, use the Depth Shroud to counter, go from there. Once that big piece of control is taken out from Poke, you have a clear path to kind of win that fight. But with double Chrono up, a one Depth Shroud save is nice. You're not going to get off two, and Killa's going to have enough time to actually dish the damage he needs to in these fights.
Look at this, the tier 2 top tower just going to absolutely melt. Now double Chrono available on Lunfer, so the Void is just so much scarier. They'll wait for the first Chrono to be back up, though, still 20 seconds away, but the next team fight could decide everything. 7k advantage, still the way of Mystique somehow, but it really means nothing at this stage. Poke definitely look like the stronger team all of a sudden. I mean, MMM on the Slark, like, I'm not sure what he does in these team fights to make it go their way, but it looks like he's going to build into his own refresher orb now on that Slark. Makes enough sense. Like, you're going to have 2 Depth Shrouds, you're going to have 2 Shadow Dances. It's a lot of defense coming in for the Slark with that refresher orb. Problem is Poke now, feeling confident with the Aegis, though. Moonlight Shadow up with the smoke. Rocket Flare will give the vision on the side of Mystique, and they'll just jump right in. B, Gleipnir, it's going to hold down a couple. Looks like they'll go for the duel out, but that's going to be an immediate loss out, it seems, for the LC. In fact, it does wear off before they win. But regardless, they've got the target they wanted to start with. Onto MJ they go. They know the Rubik's on the high ground. They'll Chrono just in case they need it. Make sure there is no messing around. And that's 3 down immediately for Mystique.
And that's more than enough for them to find more off the map, take out the last tier 2s, maybe even pressure high ground. They still have the secondary Chrono ready to go on Lanfa. And for Mystique, again, they made a little bit of a move there with a smoke, but they plant a ward in vision. Like, they drop it right in front of the sentry obs in that lane. And that just gave Mystique the opportunity to go for this Moonlight Shadow play, jump in, get the pickups one by one. Their high ground push, it's pretty damn fast with the damage they have now. And they need to find a way to hold this back on Mystique, but Zone alone, it's not going to be enough.
Oh, jump in. That'd be a massive target. The arrow does land. They've got so much control onto the Leshrac and Zone. He might just be dead.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my. popped the BKB trying to survive with the Bloodstone, but just didn't have the damage. And now you are 1 Rax down. They're gonna try. MMN, he'll jump in without the Leshrac, but he's in massive trouble once this Shadow Dance wears off. He still has the Depth Shroud. He'll refresh. He needs to be able to survive through this. But where's your follow-up? Hook shots off the mark from Eren. But now they know both Shadow Dances are down. No refresher orb left for the Slark. And there's still 70 seconds without zone up.
They're gonna go for more. Hope knows that there's no follow-through without the Leshrac. Like, he's a big thing that also enables him to take these longer fights. It's a combination of the Lesh and the Slark. And it's just been disjointed in the past few fights that they have a lot to play with here. There's just not much to scare them off now.
Barely avoided there by NJ. Lunfer still waiting for that first chrono to be back up, I think. Just wants to have the double available for this team fight, because if they do win it out, they'll just win the game and in they jump. They want NJ. The Snapfire is such a big target, but the 4-staff's going to allow her to get away as now they make the jump in onto Ray instead. There goes your LC. V will move in onto the Snapfire. They'll have NJ as well. No buyback available on the Snap, as the Slark is still trying to dance around, but Lunfer is proving to be a real menace. Onto the tier 4 towers they go. How do you stop this? They need zone up. He's 5 seconds away, but if he dies, he's 200 gold short of buyback. So close yet so far. They've got to jump in. Tier 4s are under siege. I don't think they're planning to back off here. Ray, unable to get in range, and now the Chrono. He's caught 3 targets and they've got zone. That's your Leshrac gone. That's GG. It has to be it. Secondary Chrono is there. They've got the Slark. It's all over. GG. And that is what you call a very rough loss here for Mystique.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. They had such a strong early game. They took away this impact coming out